Schefter is going to have breaking news all day long as teams are cutting down to the necessary limits by the middle of this day, and we have a couple this morning.
Well, Greeny, we have an interesting one out of New York. The Giants are waiving quarterback Tommy DeVito, who will be released later today. He'll go on waivers. We'll see if there's a team that claims him tomorrow, but Tommy DeVito is the odd man out, with New York having Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston. Tommy Cutlets is no longer in New Jersey.
He's a folk hero, right? I mean, the whole area fell in love with him. He's been pretty much the only good thing about New York football for the last couple of years. Can he go on the practice squad? Like, sure. Is that still an option?
He has to clear the waivers first.
Right.
And then again, like at some point, if they move on from Jameis Winston in terms of a trade in season, now you have Tommy DeVito in your building, knows the program, knows the offense. To me, that's a likely outcome.
All right, so as these go, 4 o'clock Eastern time this afternoon is cut down time. These will be coming in all day long. Shefty will have the very latest. In the meantime, I've got burning questions, and let's begin, Shefty, with you in Cleveland. As was forecast by Tannenbaum yesterday, Kenny Pickett was traded to the Raiders. So that quarterback room in Cleveland now has one less face. What are you hearing about their plans at quarterback and why they were willing to trade away Pickett?
Well, they got offered, obviously, a pick for Kenny Pickett. That was a valuable pick, and Cleveland now has 2 ones, and they have extra picks later in the draft, so they are going to be armed and ready for the 2026 draft. Look, Kenny Pickett was a value. They have Dylan Gabriel, who they like. They have Shedeur Sanders, who they like. They don't have an experienced backup to Joe Flacco right now, but I think this team is willing to ride through that, especially with the way that Dylan Gabriel looked this summer.
So that's the point. While they haven't named it yet, the real question is who's going to be the backup, because that player is one hit away from being on the field on opening day. It's going to be Gabriel.
Yeah, who played very well this preseason, in fairness, Greeny, but as Hembo just reminded me, he's in 3rd percentile in height. It's really hard to have sustained success in the NFL. Drew Brees is the obvious outlier when you are so short. So to me, it's a big risk. You go from 4 quarterbacks, which we've talked about all summer long, to literally for a 40-year-old quarterback to be backed up by a very unproven, very short by NFL standards 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, so we will see Dylan Gabriel, and maybe at some point we will see Shedeur Sanders. That story remains, that quarterback room remains an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've always said, like, This season should have an eye towards what you're going to be in 2026
right.
at the quarterback position. You're going to keep both of the rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly, and maybe both of them get the chance to play. Mike T, yours is the next burning question. Joe Mixon will miss the first 4 weeks of the season with a foot injury, as was forecast by Shefty yesterday. Tell us again, the wide open AFC South. Which team do you like?
The Tennessee Titans. Look, the Texans will have 4, maybe 5 new stars on the offense. Joe Mixon's out. And when you think about Cam Ward, this is the quietest first overall pick we've ever seen. And he, to me, is going to have a spectacular season. Tyler Lockett, Calvin Ridley, really solid offensive line. They have Tony Pollard. I think this is a team that could compete and win the division this year, Greeny.
Don't be shocked if Tennessee is a lot better than most of the forecasts. Speaking of forecasting, according to ESPN Bet Sportsbook, the Pittsburgh Steelers win total for this season is just 8.5. This for a team that's coming off back-to-back 10-win seasons. They've, of course, also lost 6 straight playoff games. As you probably would have guessed, Aaron Rodgers says he doesn't care about what Vegas thinks at all.
I don't worry about what anybody's saying, what Vegas has a win total at, or any of that nonsense. Every team every year has periods of adversity that they have to overcome and battle and kind of go through it, like the bison running toward the storm. You gotta kind of run to it and embrace it. And if we can do that, then we're going to have a chance to be in the mix.
So again, that's why I said as only Rodgers can. Like only he could say all of that when asked about Vegas's preseason win total projection. That said, it's 8.5. D Wood, we go over or we go under?
I'm taking the over on it. Listen, we're talking about Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, they sleep their way into 9-10 wins.
Yeah.
And that's without Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Listen, I get he's 41, and that's a big question mark. Can he play the whole slate of games? But this is the best quarterback situation the Pittsburgh Steelers have had since Big Ben has been there. I think that the biggest question, honestly, is the offensive line. The offensive line, if they play well and they play to their strength and protect Aaron Rodgers, come on, I'm taking over.
Greeny, the NFL was created on September 17th, 1920, roughly 105 years ago. In 105 years, there's been 2 quarterbacks, 42 or older, start a playoff game. I'm going to take 105 years and take the under.
So you're going under on Rodgers, at least as far as the playoffs are concerned. Schefter, what are you hearing out of Pittsburgh, the early returns?
Listen, I think they are excited. They felt like this was a position they had to solidify. This is a team, I think, that still has some questions going into the season. I know we talked about Trey Hendrickson and Terry McLaurin. A topic we haven't talked about that's not settled yet is Cam Hayward, the defensive tackle who has talked about retiring if he doesn't get a raise. And they have been unwilling to figure out that situation. So I know we have all these situations that have percolated across the league that have begun to be solved. But Mike is out there, and the topic that hasn't gotten a lot of attention so far is Cam Hayward, who hasn't participated in team drills in practice with the Steelers getting ready to open their season against your Jets, the 3 of you guys.
That's correct. All 3 of us. They're playing against the 3 of us and the rest of the Jets a week from Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern. And by the way, just so you get a chance to hear it, I've said it a million times, no one says words better than Mike Tomlin does. He had these to say yesterday about his confidence heading into the season.
You can trick yourself into being confident. You can hide underneath your desk. I don't worry necessarily about how I feel, the emotional component of it, because it's just that. It's about putting these guys in position to work individually and collectively and being urgent about that work and understanding that everybody's got the same number of days and the answers to those questions, those bills are going to come due in a short period of time.
Again, I have no idea what he just said, but I loved every second. I don't know what that meant. I really don't. But I would like it to be my ringtone if that's on the list of options going forward. All right, we got college football coming up. What an enormous weekend we have this weekend here. And it is the Arch hype begins in earnest with Saturday's showdown with Ohio State. Do he and the Longhorns have a saying it is time to get the same way, and that he compares the situation to his own experience? Schefter, you've been telling me all along this feels different than it did with Dad.
Okay, let me say this. I want to give you the good news and the bad news. The good news is that we heard a lot of strong language surrounding Trey Hendrickson and Terry McLaurin about how far apart the sides were, how nobody was willing to budge, how this could go on. And then lo and behold, less than 2 weeks before the opener, both players remarkably get deals done. That brings us to Micah Parsons. Here's a player who, again, sounds like he doesn't want to be in Dallas. He's issued the public trade request. The Dallas Cowboys have had 0 negotiations with him since they felt like they had an agreement with him that he didn't follow through on. All we've heard is how bad it is, and I think it is bad. I've even heard that this situation is considered to be Jerry Jones' Waterloo. He doesn't want to lose it. But I would say this. We've seen these other sides come through and get deals done. This one, again, feels a little bit different. Now, it looked like McLaurin and Hendrickson were hopeless, and lo and behold, they get deals done. And the Dallas Cowboys open their season a week from Thursday night. And Micah Parsons still has a tight back, and he still hasn't practiced. And we still don't know whether he's going to play. And this is Jerry Jones' Waterloo. So there are a lot of elements at play that go against a deal, that tell you it's not good, that tell you in time it doesn't look like Micah may be resigning there. But the hope is if Trey Hendrickson could get a deal done in Cincinnati, if Terry McLaurin could get a deal done in Washington, then there has to be a way for the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons to bridge their differences somehow, as vast as they are, and get a deal done.
The Battle of Waterloo ended the Napoleonic Wars once upon a time. It was the end of Napoleon. Will they be the end of Jerry Jones or Micah Parsons? Or one? You said to me yesterday, find a way to make both sides happy. In this case, I'm not sure it works because Jerry thinks they had a deal and he feels wronged. And if I'm Micah Parsons, I'm not taking 1 cent less than T.J. Watt got.
2 years, $84 million. Both sides win, both sides lose. $42 million a year, Greeny, highest paid non-quarterback in the league. 2-year deal, so Jerry Jones doesn't have these massive guarantees, and now Micah Parsons gets back out to the market as soon as 2 years. So to me, not ideal for either side, but it puts a Band-Aid on it. One other thing, Greeny, the expression, it's getting late early. If the 4 of us were in Kevin Patullo's office right now, the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, I promise you on his whiteboard is test the conditioning of number 11, meaning if Micah Parsons does play, I promise you They will go no huddle and see what kind of shape he's in.
Well, before we even get to that, let me ask you the question this way. We are 9 days away from the opener. He has a tight back for whatever that's worth, but he hasn't been in pads. He has not gone through an actual football practice this entire training camp. Can he physically play an NFL game in 9 days?
I think it would be irresponsible for the Dallas Cowboys to put him out there, to be honest with you. I think if you're truly trying to protect the player and do what's in the best interest of the player, you don't play him week one. We are literally 9 days away. One thing you got to do, and Mike T, you've seen this before, you have to be in football shape. The only way to be in football shape is by doing football things, being in pads, being in practice, building up those calluses within your body. We saw with Darrelle Revis. He came back from the holdout. Okay, he went out there, and what's the first thing that happened? He pulled a hamstring.
Yeah.
Do you really? It's not about one game. It's about 17 games for the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys, I think, open with 2 division games, right? After the Eagles, they have the Giants.
Yes, at home.
So we'll see. It is getting late, very, very early. Coming up, Rodgers responds to the expectations as